Hey everybody, and welcome back to another season of Indie Corner Radio. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome guest. He hasn't been on this one before, but he was on the original show, The Independent Corner. He was one of my returning guests for many episodes of those. Please welcome James Balsamo. How you doing, James?
Hey everybody, James Balsamo here. Excited to be back on a new venture with my buddy here.
Yeah, James and I have known each other for a long ass time. I think Christina Rouse introduced us, I believe, if I'm
Yes,
correct.
many moons ago. And here
Yeah.
we are.
I think we were at if I'm correct, we were at a horror realm in Pittsburgh. And
Yes.
and she was like, or yeah, I think it was the Pittsburgh one, and she was like, you got to meet James, and everything. And I was like, who's this James guy? I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know you at the time. And we became friends, and since then I've been in two of your movies. At least I know one for sure. I haven't seen the other one, um the Alien one I was in.
Yeah, you're in that too.
Yeah, small role. Small
I'll
role, but it was
copy that guy.
yeah, it was fun though. I had a fun time with that one. But
Yeah.
I loved working with you at Bite School. That was great. Um, so I just love seeing how much you've been doing, and so we're gonna kind of dive a little deep to start with because I don't think I've ever really done that with you. I think a lot of it's on the surface, kind of like what is your movie like and everything. But I first wanted to talk about like did you have a good upbringing, good childhood?
I did, yeah. I mean, after I escaped from the cage, you know.
The
But yeah,
cage. Can you
no.
expand upon
I mean,
that a little bit?
no, I'm kidding. No, I have two loving parents that are still married. I don't come from a broken home, but it's okay if you do. But yeah, no, I wasn't uh, raised terribly. I had a great upbringing. I have a great family that I'm still in touch with and I love. And
Yeah, I've met
uh,
your mom. I think she's been at a couple of the conventions and stuff.
yeah,
She
she came with me for a little while. I mean, I've been doing the circuit for 10 years, so
so after a
uh,
while, you're just like, why not? Have
yeah,
her.
for a little while. You know what I mean? Because I live in LA and she lives in New York. So when I would do a signing somewhere in the middle, she would meet me, and then we'd spend the weekend together. It was nice.
Well, before you moved to LA, I believe, you like when we met in horror Run, but later you would come down to Virginia. So you did like I think was it RavenCon, I want to say.
Yeah, yeah, I was a guest at a Raven Con.
Yeah, you were a guest, and it was it was fun, man. I mean, just hanging out with you. I mean, if anybody knows you, you do a ton of puns. Like, when did you get into that?
Well, I used to do stand-up comedy until I sat down, and then my career was over.
There you
So,
go.
I started doing puns from actually doing conventions. So, I love telling bad jokes, and I don't enjoy small talk. And from doing a lot of conventions, to go deeper and be real with you, a lot of people just talk about themselves or they talk about their career, or you know what I mean? They don't really have much to say. And so I'd be hanging out in these celebrity green rooms and people would just kind of be boring. So I'm hanging out with these cool horror celebrities and people that I admired, but nobody really had anything interesting to say. And so I started just telling bad one-liners. And you get two reactions like that. It's, "Oh God, tell me another one," or it's like, "Oh my God, tell me another one." It's either one like that. So I just kept coming up with these bad jokes. And so one day I sat down and I wrote down 100 bad one-liners. And that book is available at Barnes and Noble and also jamesbalsamo.com. It's called Total Punishment. And do you know where vampires keep their beer?
Where?
In the Dracula.
So
I know, man.
yeah. I
I
mean, yeah, oh my God, tell me another one. Yeah.
Yeah. See, vampire jokes are so draining.
Uh, but see,
Yeah.
that was the way. So I remember being at RavenCon with you, and literally the whole night, that's all you did. And I was like, I can't believe somebody can just keep that up. Like, I mean, your brain just works like that, it seems.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. I can, if somebody is willing to listen, I can speak only in puns. But over the years, it's like I wrote two pun books, and it's something I could turn on and off. Because some people, they just, they're like, get away from me, but tell me another one. You know what I mean? So
It's funny because yeah, I'm sure you there have been people who don't like those kind of jokes, but they're just like intrigued by the fact that you can just do them like off the top of your head.
that's what it is. So even if somebody doesn't like puns, they appreciate the punishment,
Yeah.
nevertheless.
Well, there you go, and that's what your book is about. So people go buy that book if you want to be punished.
It's
Um,
true.
but yeah, I grew up on cheesy comedies and stuff. Those are my favorite, and so I'm sure you did too, and that's probably where you get a lot of your humor. Um, are you a big fan of like dad jokes and stuff? Is that the kind of stuff you also
Oh,
like to?
I like mom jokes also. I don't discriminate.
That's true. I'm
I
sure
like
you don't.
uncle jokes. I like Denise and the nephew jokes.
All right. So there you go. Well, I love just hearing like, your films like you had your one movie Killer Waves had a guy who just did that, just did puns like a killer, right? That did nothing but puns. And did you have fun like creating sort of another Freddy Krueger in a way?
Yeah, that's totally what inspired that is, the puns of Freddy. And so the unholy diver, the killer in Killer Waves tells puns, as well as in my film Slice, 18 Holes of Terror, a movie that I made with John Hitt. The killer, named the Bogeyman, also tells golf puns. So it's a hole in you. And I did two of those movies with John, Slice 1 and Slice 2. And in the first one, we killed Robbie Krieger, the guitar player from the Doors, with a door. And so that was really fun.
Well, did
And
he love that? Was he like all game for that?
he he's a really fun guy, and he was totally up for whatever, which was really cool. So it never surprises me who wants to play with me in this world of pretend in making movies. You know what I mean? It's really fun. I've been so grateful to work with so many amazing celebrities and like ridiculous people of American pop culture that I've been able to murder in these horror comedies. So it's really fun.
I gotta think like I think Eric Roberts gotta love you, right? You've worked with him, right?
Eric's been in several of my films
But he
over
must
the
love you because a lot of your stuff's improv, right? It's not like a scripted thing.
he he is brilliant to work with. I love working with Eric Roberts because you just kind of tell him where to go, and he's brilliant. You know what I mean? He's been acting for so long. He really understands what you need in an independent film. And you know what I mean? When time is the name of the game, he goes, okay, tell me, like, what am I saying and how long do I need to say it for? And he just jumps in, and he gives you what you need. And then he plays trumpet afterwards. He goes, which is amazing because it must be something that he naturally does. Because I was rewatching Best of the Best, and he does that trumpet in that movie, which means he must do that for his whole life. He must have done that for his whole life. He just goes, bam, 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 bam. He plays a form of trumpet in Best of the Best. Rewatch Best of the Best, and there's a scene where he like checks into the hotel and he's sitting on the bed and he plays air trumpet with his mouth, something he still does to this day,
Hmm.
which is
I don't rem I met him on Collision Earth, and I don't remember him playing air trumpet. I just remember him being very, very nice to me. Considering I think he thought that I was autistic or something, because he was like, "Is I'm deaf in my left ear, and I didn't hear the director call action." And then I saw somebody moving. I was like, "Oh crap, I missed my cue." And the guy was like, "Where's my guy?" And he starts kind of coming to me to like. It felt like he was kind of come yell at me or whatever about it. I was like, "Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you yell action." And Eric Roberts goes, "Don't yell at that man. He's doing a good job." It's
Amazing.
like, thanks, thanks. You know, I was like an extra pretty much. I had like one line in the movie pretty much, but like I was a glorified extra, and he was like saying that. I was like, I feel like he thinks I'm, you know,
Yeah.
autistic or something, but it's okay. Whatever you want to think, Eric. You know, I'd love to work with him. Like I'd love to direct him. I think he would be a
Yeah.
really cool dude. So I'm
He,
glad you
he
got to.
really, yeah, he's really fun to direct because he can give you more or less, and he likes to go big. So
Yeah, I'm sure. And to be thinking like, I mean, did you grow up on his movies? Did you grow up in like Pope of Greenwich Village and things like
sure.
that?
Oh yeah. And I mean Doctor Who with that cool cape, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So oh man, I'm happy that like you are living the dream right now. You're living the dream, like being able to actually, get celebrities into your movies and make them make them do crazy shit, and stuff. Things that they probably never would do in any other movie.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am excited, like I said, to play pretend because that's what films are. They're entertainment, they're escapism. You know what I mean? Especially horror and sci-fi and action. You know what I mean? I just spent a month in North Carolina shooting two action movies back to back, and I spent the month like flying in helicopters, playing bass, and doing shootouts on jet skis, and we ran cars over with tanks. So it's like being a little kid, you know what I mean? Playing with toys, tanks, and stuff, but being grown up and playing with like real tanks and crushing cars. And we were in a biplane, and then the biplane was like doing flips while a helicopter was filming it side by side. So it's something I always wanted to do, and I'm doing it, and I'm grateful for it. So
I bet you like 5-year-old you like is just smiling right now. Is like, oh my goodness, I'm there I am. Like I dreamt about being in a tank or having tanks crush things, and then here I am doing it.
I'll tell you the reality of being in a tank. It's not built for comfort, or at least the one that I was in. So I made these movies with a guy named Sean Baxter, who owns Concord Taekwondo America in North Carolina. So if you're looking to do martial arts, definitely go to Concord Taekwondo America. But anyway, Sean is driving this tank because he's former Army. You know what I mean? So he actually drove tanks. So he's driving this tank, and I'm in the back of the tank getting like thrown around like this, filming B-roll while we're in the tank. And it's like being inside of a metal trash can. So I'm just getting like thrown back and forth inside of this real tank. So I can't imagine, you know what I mean, what soldiers have to go through being in that because it's not fun. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
pretend aspect of it, amazing. You know what I mean? Being in karate gis in a tank, super fun, super silly, but like the horrors of war. You know what I mean? They put a plastic skeleton on the course that you drive around on this tank, and I just had a moment of like, the reality of like what playing pretend. You know what I mean? There's like
Right.
separation of the reality and the horrors of war, and then being a little kid and thinking like, wow, tanks are fun, and like this is fun.
Well,
There are two totally separate entities, like pretend and then the reality, which is horror.
Well, I mean, in real life, not in the movies, or whatever, but in real life, war is not fun. I mean, when people go in tanks, they're not going in there going, "Oh my God, this is the greatest time of my life." They're going there to go kill some fuckers, and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Right.
they're there to like for destruction.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. So, but the image of being in a tank super cool, but actually being in a tank
Hmm.
not very comfortable. I mean, I
Well,
was
I mean, you're on the
walking away,
bottom,
my,
like
my
up,
ribs
right?
were like, okay, I think we got enough takes. Like we're good.
I mean, you're on the bottom, like looking up, right? Like you're not. This is probably the most uncomfortable thing you have to do.
Yeah, no, I was so it's leveled like you drive it from the bottom. So I'm actually on top where the gunner kind of is. And so I'm getting like thrown around. And then there's trees, and so I'm like getting smacked in the face by like long branches and stuff like that. While this thing's like going over hills and stuff. But it was, an amazing experience, but like I said, not not physically fun, but looks awesome. And that's how action is sometimes. Like the things that are uncomfortable look the coolest. Although I
Yeah.
will tell you, I loved being in the helicopter. Like we took the door off of the helicopter and I'm strapped in the seatbelt and then I'm hanging out of the helicopter playing bass. Like super fun. Do you ever see drone footage the way it like goes up so quick like that?
Hmm.
Same feeling of the helicopter. You just kind of you're on the ground and then you're immediately several stories in the air above the trees. It's really cool. I would suggest it to anybody. Like try it because I don't really enjoy heights, but I loved the helicopter. Super fun.
That's crazy that you don't enjoy heights and yet you'll be hanging off of a helicopter to do that. Like that's crazy.
Oh yeah, well, as a thespian, I was acting like an action star. But in the mantra of acting like an action star, I actually had a lot of fun. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
And now, okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your acting, like yourself, like because I mean, you've done other people's movies, but you mainly do your movies. You're pretty much James Balsamo. You play different roles, but a lot of times they're like, that's a James movie. Like they could see your style, they know that's your thing. Um, do you think like as an actor, it's sort of do you ever get like into the role where you're like all of a sudden you become that person?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about in the action movies. You know what I mean? Because James Balsamo isn't an action star. You know what I mean? I have no real martial arts training. I have no real. I went to karate school when I was a little boy, and I talked a lot in class. And my master was like, "You keep talking, I'm going to put this tape on your mouth." For like, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do karate anymore. That was it. You know what I mean? So I've got a few lessons in karate. I wrestled in high school, so I've got a little bit of jujitsu and wrestling training, but that is it. It's all hobbies. So I have to be like, okay, I am a karate cop and I am an action star. So that is the mentality. Like whatever we were doing, which as a producer, I'm finding. So I'm in North Carolina and I'm calling crazy places. I'm like, hello, helicopter store. Can we use your helicopter and then have it chase motorcycles and then have a guy strapped in shooting a gun out of your helicopter? And he's all like, yeah, that's fine. And
What?
so
Wait, go back to that. What like how did that like how does it just become fine? Like I mean I guess you just pay the rate that they want, but like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're so super duper cool about it.
Well, that's my job as a producer, right? I have to like find places that let me do crazy things for pretend for these movies. So, you know what I mean?
Do you
I
get turned down a lot?
Oh yeah, a lot. a lot. But you wouldn't be surprised how much people say yes to me. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing the numbers game. So many more people want to play and make movie than the other group that are like, oh no, you can't do that. That's crazy. I won't let you do that.
I won't, you can't touch my helicopter,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah, I get
so
it.
you know, I was really like amazed at all the crazy fun stuff that you could do in North Carolina. Coming from LA, you have to pay crazy amounts of money for permits and stuff like that. All I'm doing is old 80s movies tactics. Like I had lunch with Sid Haig, and he was telling me about doing movies in the Philippines. They did that because they were cheaper. You know what I
Mm.
mean? You can do crazy stuff in the Philippines opposed to doing crazy stuff in Los Angeles. And it still goes today. You can do crazy stuff in North Carolina opposed to doing crazy stuff in Los Angeles. And so, like I said, I spent the month there. We shot not one, but two Karate Cop movies back to back. And then I filmed another movie with Darren Ewing from Troll 2, the guy that goes, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I love Darren.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny because yeah, like you're saying that, and we review movies for Indie Film Cafe, and we've been reviewing a couple Andy Sedaris movies, and you're kind of like the next Andy Sedaris in a way, like and especially if you're saying you're getting these tanks and other stuff, that's what they would do. They have all the helicopters, and then have well, the big thing with him was boobs, which is big thing with you too. You like women to show off their boobs, like you don't mind that. And apparently women don't mind doing that for you. So that's awesome, you know. But then, he had to do that stuff in Hawaii, because I bet LA wouldn't have been cheaper to do,
Yeah,
you know.
no, it's true. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just riding on the spin. So
Well, I mean, but you like they look at an Andy Sedaris movie, they go, "That's Andy Sedaris movie." They look at a James Balsamo movie, they still know that's a James Balsamo movie. Like you have a style, which not a lot of directors in indie film have,
I
in my
appreciate it.
opinion.
Well, thank you
So
very much.
yeah, so I mean, I look at your films, I'm like, okay, this is fun. I mean, there's you're gonna see you as usually the lead, and as I'm sure it was you were the lead of Karate Cop, right? Or Karate Cops? Is that?
The cops. Yeah, there's two of us. Me and Sean Baxter. We are a dynamic duo of crime fighting cops that do karate.
Have you ever seen, like, I think it was in the 90s, there was a Karate Cop movie, another one. Did you ever see that movie?
Just a singular karate cop. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're going a little bit more above
Right.
and
There's two of
beyond.
us. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, this one.
But I think that's awesome that you've been able to make two movies back to back. That I mean, they're all filmed, right? They're done.
Yeah, that's it. They're in the can.
So that's just amazing. Like you're able, and I think you said earlier you were making like five movies, like back to back.
Yeah.
I, I don't know
Under
how you do it, man. Like, I mean, it must like you must be taking a break soon or something, just to like ease off of everything.
I don't know. I might be going back to New York to film another movie next week, so I just got a phone call
Jesus,
today. So yeah,
No rest for the wicked, huh?
that's it. You said it. And if anybody's listening that wants to make a movie, you can go to jamesbalsamo.com. And if you put in half the budget, I put in the other half, and we split it, and it goes through my distribution. So it goes to Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes and Noble, and wherever major movies are sold. So you can make your own movie with me, and just go to jamesbalsamo.com and find out how.
So have you put any of your movies on Tubi?
I have a whole bunch of films coming out on streaming this Christmas, so it'll be on over 200 channels, including Tubi, Redbox, and Crackle.
Nice. And you
Yeah.
said 200?
No, 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 no.
I
Oh,
was gonna say, and I was like, did you make 200 already?
no, no. It'll be on over 200
Okay.
channels. including Tubi, Redbox, and Crackle.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great because like that right there, just getting your name out there, like I'm sure your fans or even new people haven't even discovered you yet, and they're going to, and they're going to be like, "Who is this James Balsamo guy?" You know, and
yeah. No, that's always, what's fun to me, John, is when I do a convention and I sell a movie to like a new fan, and then they go home and watch it in the same weekend that they bought the movie from me, they look at me differently. You know what I mean? Before I'm just a guy, but the power of cinema is so crazy because
mm,
then I'm no longer a guy. I'm that guy from the movie that they saw. You know what I mean? So then they're like, "Oh my God, you're the dude in the TV." So it's always really fun for me to see that moment in people's eyes because like you see somebody you admire, like, Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, or Kane Hodder, who plays Jason. You're like, oh, you're the guy. I know that you're the guy because I watched the behind the scenes and I seen you without the makeup. So it's the same thing. After they see me on the movie, they're like, oh, you're the guy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy.
I'll tell you the first like so I was at a convention in Kentucky called Fright Night Film Fest. I don't know if you've been there yet or not. You should go at some point if you
Yeah.
haven't. And I'm just like I don't know why. I was just like looking around at people's like stuff, but I wasn't looking at who they were, right? I was just kind of like checking, perusing people's tables, and I see Prince Humperdinck pictures and stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
like, what? Like I thought it was somebody selling them or something. And I look up and there's Chris Sarandon like staring at me. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to buy my picture? Kind of thing. And I was just like, where did I felt like I went into another like warp zone, or something. Like I was like somewhere else that I wasn't, and the same day my parents were actually in New York and went to the Ghostbusters firehouse. So like we were having a moment there where we were both kind of going and seeing kind of cool stuff. So I thought that was cool. But
Yeah.
what was your big like starstruck kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I just met this person?
Um, I don't get starstruck often. I just had a moment. Where was I? Well, honestly, I just talked to Jesse Ventura for over half an hour last weekend when I was signing in Atlanta. We're
Governor
both.
Jesse Ventura?
That's right, former Governor Jesse Ventura, and he is brilliant. You know what I mean? He's somebody that's really interesting to talk to, and he told me crazy stories that'll just melt your brain. You know,
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah, it was really cool to talk to Jesse Ventura, and then seeing Mick Foley and getting him in my new movie Robot Dracula was also very exciting because Mick Foley's book, Have a Nice Day, was the first book I ever read as a kid, and so big wrestling fan, super excited to get him in Robot Dracula. But yeah, I work with so many celebrities. I try not to get starstruck because I want to play with these people. So I try to like show them that I've kind of worked with big names, and so I'm a fan, but I'm also a peer working in the entertainment industry. And so when you're drooling over somebody, it's hard to get them to do a cameo.
Right. You know, like but take me through like a little bit of a process because like I saw you had like Bam Margera and Karate Ghost 2, and he has like, I saw it. It's a small role, but it's like it's the typical cameo thing where, he's talking to the camera and saying whatever, then all of a sudden whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but
Uh,
you know, I'm not trying to because it's not out yet. But like stuff happens and it's really cool. It's a cool little scene. But like do you just go up to him and just start having a normal conversation and then kind of work in that you're a filmmaker, or does it kind
you
of
know, it depends. With Bam Margera, that was actually a self tape from Bam because I'm friends with his manager Jack, um, Jack Daniel, and
Jack
he
Daniel.
that's
Nice.
right. And so Jack, funny story. Bam and I did a show together in Florida maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I gave him a copy of my first film, Hack Job, because I know he had brought Guar on his television show. And I said, listen, Guar's in this movie. I'd love for you to do a cameo. And he was saying, okay. And Jack pulled him away and then told me like, wait, what is this for, a movie? Oh no, I don't think we can do this. Here's my card, we'll talk. And so it took 7 years for me to get Bam Margera to do a cameo. And so, people think, oh, I just meet him at a convention and I get him right there. And sometimes, yes, that's true. But with Bam Margera, that cameo took me over 7 years to get. So even though it's a quick cameo, Bam Margera is a huge star. You know what I mean? So whether he's in it for 30 seconds or he's in the whole movie, he's still in the movie. So for me, I rather have 80 celebrities that are come and go than have somebody star in the movie and only have one star.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get it.
So for
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say for me, I don't know if you've ever seen Meet Wally Sparks, which is like
The
a really
Rodney Dangerfield movie. Yeah.
that's right, really fun Rodney Dangerfield movie. There are so many celebrity cameos in that in the blink of an eye, and like through the whole film, you're watching the movie and then you're like, and then there's no way. Like that's what I love. I love that moment. So that's something I've become known for, where people are like, "Oh yeah, James Balsamo gets these blink of an eye cameos." It's on purpose because that feeling of being like, uh, "What? How is that guy in the movie? No way!" And then it goes on, and then it's like, "Oh, you got that guy too? No way!" You know what I mean? So like, I prefer that than you know,
Hmm.
having one celebrity, especially working on low budget films and like, you know what I mean? I have so much money in comparison of Hollywood. I make, 7 movies for a craft service budget, like, you know what I mean, on a
Hmm.
on a major multi-billion-dollar feature. But I'll tell you this, my movies are in the same stores and I have the same distributor as Paramount. So in the long run, does it make more sense to make more movies that people can watch in 90 minutes or make multi-billion-dollar movies that people go, that was okay?
Right. No, of course. Like, yeah, you'd rather them watch them and enjoy them for kind of what they are, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you say Meet Wally Sparks, and my first thought is like the player, had so many cameos and stuff. I think that's where our brains are a little different, like Meet Wally Sparks is more of what I think of your films, or
Yeah.
whatever. And Rodney Dangerfield, whatever. I don't know if he directed the film or not. I don't think he did, but I remember that being like, wasn't that like kind of like Jerry Springer-ish kind of thing? Like,
Yeah, it's fun. My point is that, you know what I mean, the cameos of come and go moments where they're brief, and then because let's be honest, John, the movies are about me. Okay, I am the star of these, so like having somebody else star in the movie takes the light away from me. I'm here to tell the world about the greatness of the universe and the art of balance, and so having a celebrity for 90 minutes takes that message away from me. So really, let's talk more about me.
yeah, let's do it all about James Balsamo. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a James Balsamo film.
it's
It's not
true.
an Eric Roberts film. It's not
That's
a,
right.
they might be in it for like whatever, just to give
Yeah.
you a brief little away from James, just to, so it can't be all about you 24/7, but
Well, it just shows you who's friends with James Balsamo. You know
uh,
what I mean?
it's true.
So,
Like if they don't come back, they might not be friends with you,
right.
necessarily, But if they come back, you said Eric's worked with you a bunch of times. I guarantee you, tons of your actors, tons of your cameos, like they love to come back and do
They
more
do. They like to
cameos.
come back. You know what I mean? It's It's fun. You know, what's nice, John, is that since I've been doing so many films, actors that I've worked with hit me up for cameos or they want to, you know what I mean? I always think that's fascinating. I'm like, you want to work with me again? Okay. All right. I like that. That's flattering. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, they can't have just one James Balsamo movie. They gotta be in, more than one,
Yeah, they're like
usually.
potatoes. You can't just have one.
Hey, I've been in two, so I get it.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's talk because we met we met earlier, or whatever. We talked about that, but then I saw you at Scares That Care. That was the and I think it was the first Scares That Care, and you were I guess you were a vendor at that, or celebrity guest, I guess,
I was,
at
yeah.
it. And you were there, and I remember our our thing was like I was like, hey, I wanna because I knew you did hotel like scenes, scenes in hotels. And I was like, are you doing anything for your new Bite School movie? And you're like, yeah, but do you know anybody who would get naked? And I did,
Yeah,
so
you did.
and so I I said sure, and I got you Stro, which you say you're a wrestling fan, so I'm sure you knew who Stro was,
Yeah.
and Roberta Lombardi and Ophelia Rain,
Yeah.
and everything. That scene, just doing that was a lot of fun.
That was
Yeah, it just took us a break from the craziness of the convention, and I actually like that. Like, I wish like more movies. I wish I would shoot more movies at conventions because, like, it it just like it takes you out of the convention for like a few hours so that you're, and you're doing something productive, and everything. And so, yeah. Are there any other conventions that you're planning to hit up soon?
Yeah, I'll be doing Mad Monster Party in February, and that's in Concord, North Carolina. So I'll be going back to North Carolina in February. I don't know if I'm doing anything else before that. I never know where I am week to week. Like I said, I literally just got back 2 days ago into Los Angeles from a month and a day in North Carolina. And then I got a phone today. I might be going to New York. Uh,
It's
one of the
interesting that
guys
you're
called.
like,
Must be burning.
your life is just like that crazy, right? You just
Yeah, it's
never know
pretty.
what you're doing.
You never know.
Well, it's good.
Oh yeah,
Big,
nice adventure. You gotta live it to its fullest, John.
well, I mean, not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can have get up and go and stuff. And I think it comes from the fact that you started with, hack job and you just kept making movie after movie after movie and you kind of built up a reputation that not only are you going to get a movie made, but you're going to get a fun movie made, like,
Appreciate that. Yeah.
nothing has been I don't think I've ever seen a movie that was boring from you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I've ever gone, oh man, I wish that one was better. I think every single one, I'm like, yeah, it's just James like upping his game each time. Now we're gonna
Thank you.
see tanks. Now, does the tank fire?
The tank. I'll tell you this: the tank doesn't fire in real life. It might fire in the movie, though. I don't want to give too much away, but we do fight dinosaurs, and we also fight the original guitar player of Danzig, John Christ, who plays a villain named Techneck, who's able to remove his head and put on a gun for a head. And so, yeah, there's
Jesus.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff in this movie. Also, the lead singer of Dragon Force is in it, as well as the Panthers place kicker. Eddie's in the movie. I filmed with him right after he won the first Panthers game of the season. It's crazy, John. Like, I have so many crazy adventure stories. I'll tell you that one real fast. So I'm in North Carolina. I I go to North Carolina first of all to do a premiere of Karate Ghost 2, the movie I made with Joe Borlick that has Bam Margera in it. Also, Linnea Quigley's in it, and
Misty Wagner and her, I think that was one of her screen debuts there.
yeah, and John Hennigan, who formerly John Morrison from the WWE, currently Johnny TV in AEW. Anyway, I premiere this movie. Sean Baxter comes to the premiere. We filmed at his dojo, and he decides let's shoot a movie. So we have a meeting about it. We're at a Morton Steakhouse across the street from the Panthers arena. So we're just about to shake hands on making this movie, and the waiter goes, "Hey, I don't know if you guys are sports fans, but the place kicker from the Panthers is here, and he just won the game." So he gets up, he goes to the bathroom. This is Eddie, the place kicker from the Panthers. When he comes out, I go, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" And just like that, we film it right then and there, and then bam, right before the movie starts, we've got an NFL cameo attached to Karate Cops. And so that was it. Sean was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And then 2 days later, I got the singer of Dragon Force, and then the rest is crazy history.
Now I wonder how things would have gone differently if you went into the bathroom and had
Yeah,
asked him.
yeah, I might have got kicked in some place. But
He was a yeah, it was a place kicker. There you go. Oh God, I've got to tell these, tell myself these jokes because I'm like, oh goodness, wait, what? Um, but I absolutely love that. Like, I think that that is amazing that you're able to do that, and it just shows, like, each time you're just, like I said, you're upping your game. You're challenging yourself. Like, did I, what haven't I put in a movie today? I haven't put a character who had a, gun for a head. Let's do that. You know, right? What was, so we talked about your celebrity stuff or whatever, and has there been like some celebrities that have turned you down? I mean, you don't have to
oh
say
yeah.
who, but do
Well,
like
there's tons of. Well, I'll tell you this one. The late great Louis Anderson almost played the devil in my movie Cool as Hell in 2013.
get out
So
of here?
long story short, I'm going back and forth emailing Louis Anderson. Unfortunately, he turns it down, and then he does a show about diving with Fox. That, excuse me, led him to doing baskets with Fox's affiliate. I forget the name of that station, but anyway, he played the mother in Baskets, which he
Was it
won.
FX?
Yeah, effects. He
Yeah.
he did like he got like a daytime Emmy or an I forget what it was. He won some major award for doing baskets. So if he would have done Cool as Hell, he never would have won that award. So sometimes it works out for them, sometimes it works out for me. But you never know. But that's the luck of the draw. So
Have you been like asked by like Tommy Wiseau or somebody like that to be in your movie?
not yet, but I'm waiting for that phone call, Tommy. So I think Tommy's great, and I hope to get him to do a cameo for me someday. Because
I bet you could get Greg
yeah,
Sestero. You know,
yeah,
I think he would. I met him because he came to Williamsburg for to share the room. He got to show us the room and whatnot, and we got to watch that and when he was outside and I had talked to him because Paul, my co-host or whatever, was like, Greg's just like sitting outside. You should go say hello to him, well, because we've seen the movie a billion times. We don't really need to see the movie. We were there to meet him,
yeah.
really, So we came up to meet him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Jonathan Moody." He was like, "Oh, hey, man," because he knew me from like messages and stuff. And I
Oh,
told him
okay.
I was planning to come, but didn't know how easy or how nice he would be. Have not
Yeah,
got him on the show yet. That's my plan. Is for Indie Film Cafe Spotlight, we got to get him on the
yeah.
show because he's one of the guys that we absolutely adore. Him and Tommy and Neil
Yeah.
Breen. I mean, could you imagine if Tommy and Neil Breen were cameos in your movie? I would just,
I reached out to Neil actually. I've also reached out to Tommy. I haven't heard back from either one of them, but like I said, you never know. So
huh.
um, sometimes when I meet these people in person and then they do the cameo, they're like, "Oh, you sent me a message. I don't know why I never saw this." So when it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah, sometimes I mean they probably get a million messages per day, or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. Like, well, not a million, but a lot.
yeah,
And they
exactly.
probably just like after a while, if it doesn't look like something from like, I bet Tommy's looking for things like Fox, or ABC or something, like, because he had that show. He had a freaking show on Hulu. Do you remember that?
No.
He had a show called Neighbors on
Uh,
Hulu. And I watched it before I even knew who he was because I was like, what is this show? Because everybody was talking about how bad it was. And so I
yeah.
was like, I don't know what the show is. I watched it. It was awful. It was just god awful, but it
Uh,
was so funny, like
yeah.
because of that. And I was like, I wish it stayed on Hulu. Like I think Disney was like, what is this show? Why do we have this on here? Get,
Right.
can you get this off here?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I do you watch a lot of like indie films to kind of not to get like inspiration or anything, but just to see what everybody else is doing?
No, not really. I mean, I love movies, and I just don't really make much time to watch them anymore. You know what I mean? I've been taking on so many projects. I just kind of like, I'll tell you a funny story. John Russo, totally underrated. John Russo
Hmm.
wrote the original Night of the Living Dead. Uh, Brilliant genius that changed American cinema forever and does not get the credit that he deserves. I mean, he is an older gentleman and he does every convention that I do and then some.
Hmm.
I was signing autographs at a barbecue in Virginia actually, and John Russo had a booth. Anyway, long story short, when I started doing conventions, I gave John a copy of my movie, I Spill Your Guts. And he was very honest with me. He gave me back the movie. He said, listen, I really appreciate it. But, when you do this for a long time and you make movies, you don't really want to watch movies. You want to, do your work, go home, maybe watch the news, have a beer, and then go to sleep. And at the time I was offended. You know what I mean? I was like,
Hmm.
why didn't he just take the movie? But the truth of it, John, is that he was so honest and real. And after doing this for 18 years, I finally understand where he's coming from. And I love him in hindsight so much more for that moment. And you know what I mean? It's just true. I don't really make time to watch movies because I'm so busy making them. You know what I mean? And I'm so worried about my own crazy ideas and getting them out of my head. I rarely sit down and watch movies. So I'll tell you, I tried to take the day for myself and I watched Predator 2 today. You know what I mean? I like 90s schlock and 80s schlock. That's what I like. So I mean that movie is insane. If you get a chance, give it a rewatch. Predator 2.
Yeah, like
Danny
the Danny
Glover,
Glover. Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
chasing a predator around Los Angeles. It's very tongue in cheek and it's done in such like a pseudo serious way. Like the whole time you're watching it, you're like, what is happening? Because with different music, it is a comedy through and through. You know what I mean? There's like bad one-liners in it. It's amazing. But that's the kind of stuff. If I have time, that's what I'm watching.
I just saw he's in a new Disney movie that just came out on Disney Plus called like
Predator?
no, no, the Danny Glover. And
Of
he's
course.
not the Predator, but that would be cool. Um
The
and he
Predator's working for Disney now.
and Danny Glover got to play Santa Claus in it. And
Nice.
it's like I mean like I I'm just like at times I'm like that's kind of cool, but then I'm like that's just Disney being Disney, like
Yeah.
out of all the actors, I'm very glad it was Danny Glover, because they could have gotten like Morgan Freeman or something,
Sure.
or whatever to play Santa Claus, and then that just would have been probably a
Surprised he
bit,
did it. He's old for that shit.
yeah, that's true. Oh man, now. It's getting well. This will be out after Christmas, but since it's before Christmas that we're recording this, is Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie to you?
Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
Both.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. I don't necessarily, okay, I'm in a weird group here where I don't necessarily believe if the film takes place around a holiday, it makes it a holiday movie. Okay,
No.
because like there are some holiday movies where they're like, this is a holiday movie. It's designed to watch during the holidays, like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, right? That is a holiday movie designed to watch during the holidays. My movie, Raven Van Slender Saves Christmas, is a holiday film intended to watch around the holiday season. Now, can you watch it any time? Sure, of course. Also, Lethal Weapon, is it about Christmas? No, Christmas is an afterthought in the film. So, is it a Christmas movie? You know, people that are so desperate for holiday films, sure, it's a Christmas movie, but I don't really think so. It's a movie that you can watch any time of the year. In fact, I just watched it a few months ago, nowhere near Christmas time. I love rewatching all of the Lethal Weapons back to back to back every few years because they're so crazy and they're so fun. And who doesn't love Three Stooges references?
Right. And that's interesting. I like that. I mean, that's not I don't think that's a weird thing like a group to be in because it is true like should it be considered a Christmas movie? Probably not. Die Hard doesn't just take place around the Christmas time. It has a lot of Christmas stuff in it like throughout the whole thing. So I think that's a
Gremlins
harder
is
one
like
to
Gremlins is like that too.
well, doesn't just take place on Christmas. It's like everything's Christmas. Like it's a
Right.
Christmas toy. It's a Chris, there's a lot of Christmas theme in that movie. Gremlins
Right.
2 is not a Christmas movie. Could not,
No, not at
not at
all.
all. But yeah, I think Die Hard. I'm one of those people that can say that. I could see Die Hard being considered, but then again, you're right though. Can you watch Die Hard any other time other than Christmas? Yes.
Right.
Can you
Yeah.
watch A Christmas Story any other time other than Christmas? Probably not, you know?
Like
But
how
does
many
that
times
mean does it have to have Christmas in the title to make it feel like
yeah,
a Christmas
how
movie?
many times are you watching Frosty the Snowman when it's not the holiday season?
How many times are you watching Jingle All the Way when it's
Yeah,
not the holiday
exactly.
season? Yeah, that's
Well, that I'll watch maybe once out of season, but it is a holiday film. But I
it
do
is
love Jingle All the Way. I'm the terrible man.
two governors that we just mentioned, the former
That's
governors. Yeah. I honestly wish both of them were back doing their stuff because
right.
they were great. Um, however, I do love seeing Arnold became like the Netflix he called himself, I guess, the action ambassador or something for Netflix, And he is now like in charge of what action movies get placed in. At least I think that's what I believe I read. And I'm like, that's insane to like think about,
Sure.
right? Like for that. So I
Yeah,
love it. I'm happy that we're able to get more Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
yeah, me too.
So let's talk real quick. Like, okay, so you got Robot Dracula coming out.
Yep.
You've got Karate Ghost 2, and is Karate Ghost 1 already come out?
Karate Ghost is out, and Karate Ghost 2 is coming out next month.
And you've got like a ton of other the Karate Cop movies coming out, Cops movies, sorry.
Yep.
It's not getting confused with the other one is terrible. Yours is going to be a lot more fun. No offense to the guy who made Karate Cop, but like it's kind of goofy, but yours
Yeah.
is goofy, but I'm sure, but like in a completely like we know we're goofy,
Yeah,
you
it's very
know.
tongue in cheek. Yeah.
So yeah, what's your favorite action movie of all time?
Commando.
Amanda. What's that?
Command. Commando.
Oh, Commando. I thought you said Amanda. I was like, what is that?
Commando. She's
Commando.
crazy. She's like jumping out of helicopters and she's got a bazooka.
I loved I love Commando. I think that was great. Freaking
Yeah. I was gonna tell you
Alyssa
last.
Milano, little Alyssa Milano, when she was before she found out who's the boss.
Yeah, Mark Lester, brilliant, brilliant director, Mark Lester. So,
Yeah.
and
Do you know
I was
him
lucky enough
personally?
to work. I do know Mark Lester. We met at the American Film Market, and we've been Facebook friends ever since.
That's awesome. You know, that's
Yeah,
great when like your heroes, people that you really admired growing up, and all of a sudden they're people you actually can correspond with, you know.
yeah, yep. Um, but what was I gonna say? Remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
But I love Vernon Wells and that like was
Mhm.
just
He's
freaking
in my movie Alien Danger 2.
why wasn't he in Alien Danger 1?
He missed the boat.
He missed that boat, but he got on the second boat, I guess,
Right.
you know. Uh
Well, he is in Mad Max 2, so why would I put him in the first one? That's what he does. He does sequels. So
unless it's Weird Science where he just plays his role again, which makes it
that,
like the third one that
that's
he
right.
did.
Yeah, or
Uh,
Inner Space, where he's the bad guy.
I heard a story. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a story that John Hughes said he, when he wrote the scene like for that to happen, he wrote it with Vernon Wells's character in mind, not Vernon, but he was like, I want that specific character in my movie. And
Yeah,
he put him in the movie just like that. And man, I love
Bill
that. Like
Berryman too.
Michael Berryman, yeah. Dude, I met him and I interviewed him, and he is one of the most articulate people you'll ever meet.
Mhm.
Very, very smart, and he is so pro-union, because what happened unfortunately on The Crow, and everything. Um, so he's very, and apparently still happening today with union sets, sadly, or non-union sets. Um,
Sure.
you know, which oh, can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, my thing muted for a second. Um, but like, yeah, have you ever had any problems with stuff, on your sets?
Nope.
Uh, Well, see, it helps when you're not actually shooting people with like real squibs or anything. You're just CGIing it a lot more. Like that's easier and safer, I would bet. Like, do you prefer that than having a squib and shooting
I mean,
people?
uh, I've used squibs before. They look great. They hurt a little more than they should. I've done it where I've been squibbed, and even with the vest, you still feel the impact of the little explosion that pushes out the blood pack. So, you know, I don't love CGI, but sometimes it's a necessary evil to keep people safe. Like I said, I just did a lot of real action stunts, so you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I was up in the helicopter and I was up in the biplane and I was riding around on the Zamboni and the jet ski and I was holding the sloth. I'll tell you, the anteater almost clawed my face off though. So I was snuggling an anteater with the karate belt on for the scene, and it had these like horrifying murder claws, and it just was like scratching into my brain. You know that scene where Freddy Krueger rips off part of his skull and
Yeah.
exposes his brain? That's what I was worried was going to happen when I pulled the anteater off of my face. Like,
So you're like, I don't need a stunt double. I'm gonna do it myself and
yeah,
hug this anteater, you know?
yeah,
Oh Lord, that's hilarious. So
yeah,
I love that. That I think uh that's actual shit. You know what I mean? Like people are doing it for real. None of this, when's my stunt double getting over here kind of bullshit. You're like, fuck it, give me the anteater. I'm
yeah.
gonna
Right.
uh what like how do you put that into a movie? Are you just like I haven't had an anteater in my movie. Let's get that over here.
Actually, I have had an anteater character in Alien Danger 1 and 2. There's like a Chewbacca anteater character named Bud, and he's an anteater. Joe Castro sculpted this amazing, realistic anteater mask. And so I was like, you know what? I want a real anteater. And I found one in North Carolina.
Like at a pet shop or something or
No, it was a zoo. So,
wait, they let you just take it out of the zoo?
well, we filmed on the zoo grounds, but yeah, it's amazing what you could do in
Jesus Christ, man. You're like, oh, I got tanks in my movie. I go to the zoo and I just ask the zoo if we can shoot a anteater.
yeah, so I got a real I'll tell you all the things I got. It's crazy. I got a sloth, I got two lemurs that make horrifying noises. They make the scariest death cry, and that's just how they talk. I got a baby giraffe and an anteater as well as an armadillo. I got a little armadillo.
Gotta have an armadillo in there.
Yep. And a honey bear. They're called
Not a honey badger?
not a honey badger. They're called a honey bear, and their real name is a Kikachu. It's like a Pikachu, and they're
That's what I
really
was gonna
cute.
say, Kikachu.
Yeah, it's a Kinkajou, and they're called honey bears, and they've got these long tongues like the anteater, and these big eyes, and they're really cute. And I believe they have like little poison in the tips of their claws. Something clawed me on the hand, and my hands swelled up a little bit, and I couldn't bend a finger, but worth it. They are
I,
cute.
I don't like them being called honey bears now because they're being kink shamed.
That's right.
See, now I'm just turning into you,
So
just
you
trying to
could,
come up with other like little jokes and shit to throw in there. But
yeah,
you're a little quicker than I am. I have to think about that for a second, and like you can do it at the top of your head, which I think is amazing.
I could
Um,
bear it, John.
all right,
I'm,
that was a little bit like that was a little unbearable. Okay. But yeah, no, I love this. I love that you're able to go out there and make these movies, and they're out. A lot of them are out and available. You said some are coming to Tubi or something, coming to all the platforms.
Yep, they're coming to cable, Tubi, but you can get them right now, Walmart, Best Buy, or jamesbalsamo.com.
I would say go
And
to bigjameswellsummit.com because it goes directly to you.
yeah, well, it all goes to me. You know what I mean? It's all through my distribution. So
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. You're
coming to
self-distributed.
me either way. You know what I mean? So however, it's like choose your own adventure. It all leads back to this guy.
Well, I mean, like, do you press your own Blu-rays and DVDs?
I have a distributor. So I have this, like I said, I have the same distributor as Paramount and Fox at the NHL. So
Like that. I'm surprised you haven't got any NHL people yet.
I
Yet.
did. I told you I got the place kicker from the Panthers.
Well, I
The
mean that's
N-
not NHL. That's NFL.
there you go, NFL. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Not
N-
NHL yet.
yeah,
Not
no,
yet, but
not
I'm
yet.
sure that's coming. You just got
Yeah,
to meet them at their
but
the
I will
wait
tell
for
you a
them for
fun
the
hockey.
bathroom.
I will tell you a fun hockey story. So I went to one hockey game of the North Carolina Checkers while I was out there, and they put me on the Titantron, and then they had me replaying the whole night as one of their greatest clips. And so the next day on the Checkers official YouTube channel is me as their greatest hits screenshots.
That's crazy, but like what
Crazy.
were you doing that got you that notice?
I was just cheering. You know what I mean? I was in the front row, and I don't know, they put me on the big screen, and that then they used me as their highlight reel.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, it
You
was
know.
fun.
Yeah, they were like, look, it's James Balsamo,
That's right.
star of Cool as Hell. And
Right here in North Carolina.
down here in North Carolina. I actually thought you had moved or something because I saw so many things from you doing that. I was like, damn, did he move out here? Like on the East
Yeah,
Coast again?
I was there for a whole, like I said, a month and a day. I'm back now.
Do you enjoy living in LA?
I do. I love it. You know what I mean? So,
It's just nice, like the weather's just nice out there and shit. And
oh yeah, it's way warmer than the East Coast. That's something I didn't miss when I was back in New York for a minute. It's like, oh, it's cold here. Why am I freezing?
oh, and you're going back in a week or so,
Yeah, don't
right?
remind me. Maybe.
You're like now I'm like starting to think maybe should I, should I not? Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, James. This has been awesome, and I think
Thank you.
people are going to be really excited to see all the different projects that you've been doing, and if they haven't seen any of your projects, hopefully they watch everything that you put out,
There's a
now,
lot.
because
I've got
what
161 film products out right now.
are all of them that you've directed, or all that you've been in, period?
They're
'Cause I
all
know you've
mine.
acted in other people's movies too, like.
I've produced all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like MILFs versus Zombies, it was awesome seeing you in that. You know.
Yeah, Brad Twigg did that. I'm glad to see Brad Twig's still making some fun movies, and I'm proud of him because I know Brad before he was making movies, and now he's cranking them out. So
It's funny whenever I interview people that have worked with Brad but have known him for a while, that's like pretty much the same thing. Like James L. Edwards was talking about how he knew Brad when Brad was just like this little kid that would go to conventions and would just come up to him and say how much he
yeah,
loved his movies, and stuff. And then he got to put him in his movies,
yeah, you know what I
like
mean.
nah.
That's great. From when you go to the circus to join it, you know what I mean. It's an exciting thing.
Yeah, we're all clowns.
That's
You
it.
know, I think so. Or some of us might be trapeze artists. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what other stuff's at circus because I don't
I'm
really
the
go
strong
anymore.
man. There we
You're the
go.
strong man. All right. You know, would I be like the bearded woman? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. You're awesome. I
Always
absolutely always adore having you on my shows, like
thanks,
whatever
bud.
one we're doing. So I
It's a pleasure.
we'll have to we haven't reviewed your movies yet. And it isn't because we don't like your movies. It's because there is like a billion movies out there. So I'm
Oh,
like, we're going to. Paul really wants to do Robot Dracula. Like he's been talking about that since he heard about it. And
yeah.
he's like, when that comes out, we're reviewing that movie. I'm like,
There's a lot of fun ones in that one.
all right, he'll enjoy it. And you get to work with our buddy G. Larry Butler a lot. So,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
yeah, I just did a Hooked on Hitchcock episode with him. So,
Oh, nice. I love
yeah,
Larry.
he's awesome. Like, he does so much, he forgets that he does things. He's kind of like Eric Roberts, because Eric
Yeah.
Roberts forgets he. Like I mentioned to Eric, I loved you in Suits. He goes, "Oh yeah, I did that show, didn't I?" Like, he does so much,
Yeah.
and these actors, I love it that they're constantly working as
Oh,
they
yeah.
should.
Well, I did G. Larry Butler's first starring feature film, where he plays Jack Pepper, Banshee Hunter, and that's available now in Walmart, Best Buy, and Larry is the star of that movie. Also, Eric Roberts is in that. Full circle. I did it. Thank you. Good night.
There you go, everybody. Go check out what is it called again? Jack Pepper's
Jack Pepper, Banshee Hunter.
Banshee Hunter. Ah, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
I a whole movie with G. Larry Butler. How could you turn that down?
Right.
Star of Double D Avenger.
That's right.
I'm sure you've seen that movie.
Yeah. I own it on VHS.
Oh, he probably gave you a copy, didn't he? He gave me a copy too. And Paul, he gave us all a copy and shit. I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, Paul already had it on DVD. I did not. I still need to get it on DVD. This is a
Right.
classic. But all right, anyway, guys, tune in. I think it's gonna be every other week. So two episodes a month. Still don't think I'm gonna be able to do it like weekly for this because I do too much already. But I want to say thank you once again, James. Everybody, it's jamesbalsamo.com, right? That is your website.
That's it. Yep.
And people can pick up his movies there. And also check out indiefilmcafe.reviews, filmcafe podbean.com, and patreon.com / Indie Film Cafe if you want to donate $1 and help us out with the show. So thank you so much, and everybody else, have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.